This is the TX22 by Taurus, and it is the most fun that you can have under $300 legally. This here is a 22 long rifle, semi-automatic pistol, made by Taurus. I originally picked this up. I had played with it at the gun store a few times. Was like, wow, that thing feels really nice in my hand. And I was a little, skeptical being Taurus. And I was like, wow, this thing feels phenomenal in your hands with the ergonomics of this grip. And I was talking to the owner of the gun store, and I was like, hey, what's the deal with this thing? And he was telling me that he has one, and he handed it to me and told me to try it out. I pulled the trigger, and I was like, all right, I'm buying this gun. Like, the trigger on this thing is phenomenal. It has no reason being this good on a 22 semi-auto pistol under $300. It's one of the best striker-fired pistol triggers that I've ever shot. This gun is amazing. It runs flawlessly. I have had so much fun shooting it so far, and there's absolutely nothing that you could get that would be more fun than something like this for $270, $250, $300. Now I'm running mine with the Silencer Co. Sparrow on there because I literally bought this gun just to fuck around and plink with. 22 is like 5 cents a round. You can't really go wrong with it. And my God, is this thing a lot of fun. So as you saw there, you can get this thing going pretty fast. But here is the trigger. It's got a little bit of a longer take up here, which isn't bad. Right here's the wall, break. Now where this thing really shines is this reset. Look at this. That's reset. Now I decided to not go with an optics cut on this one just because it's a cheap 22. I didn't care too much, but is this thing fun or what? Overall, it's been incredibly reliable. I ran some dog shit 22 ammo through this thing so far, and it has cycled it every time through about 500 rounds. You really cannot go wrong with this thing. The ergonomics of this thing is just incredible. For, again, a $200-something pistol, like, you don't expect greatness, right? You're gonna walk in the store and be like, oh, I'm gonna buy the best gun on the market for $200. Absolutely not. And you don't buy a Taurus expecting that either. But man, is this thing great. Out of the factory, you get a threaded barrel attachment. You get a full Picatinny rail down bottom here. You have 3-dot sights. They're okay. They're fine. They work. They're accurate enough for a little 22 plinker. A great trigger and a great ergonomic grip. The thumb safety is okay. It's not really in like an opportune position. Like, you're not really going to get up on this thing and pull it out and be able to kind of just flip it down easily. It's a little higher than your thumb wants to be, and it's a little bit difficult to push it up without kind of maneuvering your hand to do so. But this gun is a ton of fun. And now I'm sure you're sitting there going, that's all cool and great, but why would I want a 22 pistol? I think the better question to ask yourself is, why wouldn't you want something this quiet with the suppressor and this fun to shoot? I think, if you're trying to find something for defensive use, no, this isn't for you. You shouldn't buy a 22 pistol. But if you're somebody who's like, you know what? I am sick and tired of spending 2024 ammo prices to go shoot my 9mm at the range and have fun, obviously go practice with your defensive guns. I'm not sitting here telling you not to do that, but, if you want something that you can just have good, cheap fun with, and yes, $279 isn't inexpensive. It's not nothing. It's not no money. But guess what? At the end of the day, when you're talking guns here, you're talking 5-6 cents for some cheap ammo that runs reliably through this. You're not really going wrong in terms of being in the Second Amendment fun, right? I think, especially at $275, $250, $300, whatever you can find this thing for, it's way nicer than it should be. One, not to shit talk Taurus. I've heard they come a long way in the recent years. I was never a big fan, but this thing is really changing my opinion. I wish they made a 9mm version of this. I mean, they have like HKVP9s, PDPs, stuff like that have a similar grip angle to this. But this is, without a doubt, the most comfortable grip I have ever put in my hand. Now, normally I hate finger grooves like this. Like, I can't stand them. Like the Glock Gen 4s and the Gen 3s that had these, couldn't stand the finger grooves. But it's always because they don't fit my hand. Now, I have a fairly large hand, and that fits my finger perfectly there, right? Like, that is not something you expect out of a $279 pistol. But overall, this thing has been fantastic. You really can't go wrong with it. That trigger is just amazing to me. I mean, you got Glock now asking like $700 for some of their pistols, and this thing shames Glock. Now, yes, it's a 22, so we're not going to compare a 22 to a 9mm or a 40 or something else like that. But, you know, if you want to compare 22 pistols, I was playing with this and the Ruger, whatever that competition model's called. I'm not familiar with it, but I was playing with them both in the store because I was between the two of them for a little 22 pistol. And I had originally thought that I wanted the Ruger until I started playing with them side by side. The Ruger's trigger's worse. It costs 3 times the amount of money. It does come with a threaded barrel as well, and it's fancy, it's cool. It's got the little rear charger for the action versus like a full slide top. And it does come with a rail up top for you to have an optic. But I was playing with the two of them, and this thing just felt so much better in my hand. Now, you know, that's not to say that Ruger's a bad gun. I've heard phenomenal things about it. But when you can spend $600-700 and have a lot of fun, or you can spend $270, $250, $300 and have a shit ton of fun spending the same amount on ammo, why would you not buy something like this, where it's cheap, reliable, it's fun? Oh, that's pretty. I think another reason outside of just cheap fun to pick one of these up would really be, say you have young kids or, you know, family members that you want to try to start teaching to shoot, but, you know, maybe they're a little smaller framed, they're not ready for a 9mm or something like that. I think this gun is like a perfect entry-level gun to teach somebody how to shoot on that, you know, you don't have to spend a lot of money on, right? And then after this, they can move to a 9mm or a 380 or something a little smaller in caliber, but, you know, an upgrade into an actual defensive caliber that will have the ability to stop a threat. But I fully intend to make this the first pistol that my kids shoot, and anybody that, you know, is interested in firearms and wants to get out there and just is a little afraid of recoil or, you know, the strength of other firearms, this is perfect for that. It's really low recoil. It's very simple and easy to use, has a manual safety. Not that that's, you know, everybody's thing, but it has a manual safety for those people who are like, well, what if it goes off on its own? Which obviously we know it's not going to, but for people who are a little bit afraid of those things, getting them into the firearms world, this is something perfect for that. It allows them to kind of learn in a safer, controlled environment with something easier to control than, say, a 9mm or something along the lines of that, especially with smaller framed hand people, you know. Those smaller 9mm, they're pretty snappy. But if you hand them something like this, right? I mean, look at how flat this thing is. One-handed too, it's still just as flat. There's absolutely nothing to this gun in terms of kick. It is just a blast to shoot. And I think if you don't have a 22, especially a semi-auto 22 with a little suppressor, you are missing out. If your state's stupid and doesn't allow you to have one, please fucking move. Leave those states. Tell the lawmakers to fuck off. Do whatever. But you really should consider getting yourself something along these lines, because you cannot have more fun than this. Shooting out at the range, 5 cents a round, compared to 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever, you know? Ammo prices go up and up these days, but 22 is always cheap. And man, is this thing fucking fun to shoot.